Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Redmen TV. Chelsea nil, Liverpool nil, and 90 minutes of our lives wasted. When you're on your deathbed and you look back and you think about all those things you never did, all the girls you never kissed, and the chances you never did, the shots you never took. I want you to remember this game. This will be the one. This will be the one where not the defeats, because defeats something. Defeats make you feel something. Really good and really bad are just part of the same spectrum. Just meh, just blah, blah. Fucking rubbish is worse in its own little worse way than being genuinely and utterly. We could have got absolutely pants there. And in some regards, look, yes, a draw is much better than a defeat. It is. The point. Liverpool have gained a point tonight. But the method in which we did it felt more like two teams who are rubbish right now, and Chelsea are more rubbish than us. And the fact that they can't score goals is huge. The fact that they scored just 29 goals in the league this season is telling. They don't have a lad that can stick the ball in the back of the net. And if they did, they'd have absolutely, I think they'd have wiped the floor with us tonight. Moments of decent stuff for Liverpool, decent flashes. A couple of half good performances from the Reds in spells. I'm going to be doing player rankings a little bit later on in the show, so do stay tuned for that, and I need your help with a little bit of that, of course. But I do want to get your reactions to this. You've got a few ways in which you can do it. You can tweet us at the Redmen TV. If you're a Club Legend subscriber on Redmen Plus, you can use the Discord chat, and if you are a YouTube member or you want to drop a super chat in, you can use the YouTube live chat. We've got a few good ones here, which I'll get into before player rankings, and I'll come back to the board as well. But just want to give my top line thoughts on this, because if you make that many changes to a football team, you can expect a disjointed performance. And the only way that this will be all right in what we've done here is if we manage to beat Arsenal at the weekend. But if you're banking on beating the best team in the Premier League, who are full of energy and running, and they've got like this head of steam up behind them because they're going for the Premier League title, it's wild. It's not outside the realms of possibility. We very much could beat Arsenal the weekend, as mad as that sounds, given the recent run of form that we've been in a game. But that's mad. It's mad that we're here. These two football, one footballing institution and one more modern footballing rich man's plaything, are so mediocre at the moment. We had players on the pitch who could have done more. The fact that we've gone to Stamford Bridge, and in the face of new manager bounce, the atmosphere and all that kind of stuff, that we've come away with a draw. In any other season, you go to Stamford Bridge and get a draw, you could probably go, okay, yeah, fair enough. But Liverpool have left themselves in such dire need of points that we've done this to ourselves. If Liverpool don't finish top four, it won't be not winning at Stamford Bridge, and it won't be not winning at the Etihad. It'll be losing to Nottingham Forest away from home. It'll be losing to Leeds United at Anfield. It'll be not beating Fulham on the opening game of the season. All of these results are the results that have left us needing to win games and environments and situations that you shouldn't be banking on points for. And Liverpool are fast running out of games to turn this around. It was a big ask to get 9 points from Manchester City, Chelsea and Arsenal. Now we're left with a world where it's a big ask to get 4 points. And that's going to leave us with potentially an unassailable mountain to climb if we want to get in the top four. I have hope. I have faith. Of course I do. I'm just a Liverpool loving idiot, like I probably you guys all are too. But it's a hard watch. It was a hard watch today. It would have been totally unjustified if Liverpool had snatched something at the end there. I don't think Chelsea really deserved much more. They did have a few more clear-cut chances, that evidenced by the XG. But they were dross as well. We just didn't have the cutting edge. We didn't have the guile. We didn't have the intensity. N'Golo Kante and Kovacic were the players I think that made them better on the day. I thought Fabinho had a tough game. I thought Henderson was all right. I thought it was a bright game for Curtis Jones coming back in out the cold in that game at Stamford Bridge. That was encouraging. but not loads more. But I'll talk about them more in a minute. I just want to give a little highlight before we dive into the rest of the show. I brought the the YouTube members board back for tonight, and we've had a couple of members that have joined us, so I just want to update that. First and foremost, I want to give a bit of love to Shane. Presumably his mum and dad a big fan of westerns. I think I understand how dated a reference that is. My uncle, right, who's in his 70s, would be laughing his arse off at that reference right about now. So you've got to vary your approach sometimes, haven't you? And Hayden Butler Allsop, who's got a genuinely sensational set of names there. Hayden. Hayden. Go ahead, sorry, mate. Hayden. Fuck me, Paul. Butler. Fucking hell. Butler. Totally worth your time here, mate. Allsop. Lovely stuff. Thank you so much, my friend. You joined the board. Anyone else wants to join, we'll get their name on there. Probably written even worse. Right. Let's get to the first super chat. We had one from Charlie W, sent $4.99, and thank you so much, Charlie. Much appreciated. Quad Bod was in right at the start. I'll see if I've got that comment. I don't think it made it into the package that we've got here, but I will get it up in a sec. Mate Ref, Darwin and the little fella right at the end. Can we all please try and be a bit more like that lad? Met his hero. Got the shirt, absolute joy. He just loves his heroes. Yeah, I mean, the highlight of the game was Darwin Núñez giving his shirt to a small boy who burst into tears. And whether it's because he didn't really want Darwin Núñez's shirt, he wanted Mo Salah's, I don't know. Yeah, I'm joking. That was literally the most heartwarming moments that, in the face of all adversity, being a massive fan of Liverpool is all that matters. Our support goes on regardless of who's on the pitch and regardless of the results. It's nice when you're rewarded with goals and wins and trophies, but ultimately at its core, just loving your football team, got through thick and thin, is an important lesson that we can all learn, I guess. We might not want to learn that lesson, but it is the reality of what it is to be a football fan. Ethsham Ul Hassam says the severe lack of quality is so clear. How did we fall this badly? Well, because we didn't buy more or less injury-prone midfielders, and we relied upon the ones, albeit who have enough quality to be in and around Liverpool's team. But we had this chat in the office before. If we'd been able to shift Oxlade-Chamberlain, Naby Keita in the last 18 months, we'd have had money in the bank and space in the squad and been able to maybe bring in some other footballers who would have been a bit more available, and that would have put less pressure on Henderson, Fabinho and Thiago, who were all in the 30s, apart from Fabinho, who feels like it. And they'd have been fresher and we'd have been generally all round better off, whereas we had to rely once again on injury-prone footballers who got injured. And that's one of the contributing factors to where we're at right now. Sam also says, do you think having zero Europe would be of benefit to all eyes on the title? No, because Liverpool have got a squad, too big a squad to not be in European football. We'd end up with, that's the beginning of the end. Honest answers, I don't think so. I get it. And I get that people might like the idea of a clean run at it. Loads of training time, it might benefit us. But when we've got everyone fit, even with the players going out the door in the summer on out of contract and what have you, I think it hampers you, and then all of a sudden your young lads haven't had a taste of Europe, and then you're back in the Champions League maybe the season after, and you've not played at the highest level. It's a worry for me, that, mate, if I'm honest. Stuart Armstrong said that's possibly the most blindingly obvious display of the lack of quality our midfield has. Our defence, I thought, was decent for the most part. Feel sorry for the lads up top, no service at all. See, yeah, I think it showed the lack of legs the midfield had, less lack of quality. I thought the defence was rubbish. I thought Matip was rubbish. I thought Konate was rubbish as well. They didn't handle what they needed to handle convincingly enough at times. Now, bear in mind, maybe I'm being a bit harsh on Konate because he clears one off the line. It is a situation that he sets up by not getting the ball properly cleared in the first instance. It was shaky, and again, you're right. Look, it might all just boil down to the lack of intensity in the midfield leaves a lack of coverage for the defenders, and it leaves a lack of support for the attack. So maybe ultimately, I think you're right. The midfield is essential to so many of the things that we're not doing right. Paul Murphy says, I haven't believed how bad we are until tonight. got a good comment here from Joseph Clark in our Club Legends Discord, who says, good point in the end, but again, another game where the subs struggle to make an impact. Couldn't string a pass together second half. Think confidence is lacking clearly. Let's get behind the team on Sunday. Wouldn't be surprised if we won. Thanks so much to Joseph Clark for that one, for the very glass half full approach on that. Yeah, which I look, I'm very appreciative of. Let's be perfectly honest. Reese Powell has sent us a little super chat in. Thank you so much for this, Reese. With £2, says, looking forward to playing you guys on Sunday. I imagine you would be, yes. I imagine any team would be looking forward to playing Liverpool. The only hope for us is that it is Anfield. I hope there's enough left in the tank in terms of the crowd. I think we're just very pissed off and very tetchy at the moment. And if we can channel that in the right direction, it can be a real positive for us. But if we all go there with a cob on, that's a concern. And it might not go. It might not go our way, to be perfectly honest. Some interesting comments here that are contradicted in a number of ways by other comments. But Rachel Toddy is saying, Jordan Henderson was crying at the end. I got a feeling that something is wrong in the dressing room. I got a feeling some big news could come out. Very intensive for Jordan. You know, he's fighting with Alisson on the pitch. Or moreover, he's having to really lay the smack down and really, flex the captaincy. They obviously have to have a conversation and sort it out post-match, which I think is fine to see. I think I'm glad to see a captain stepping into the breach. I presume he's telling Alisson off for not giving Matip the clear shout, because Matip basically takes the ball away from Alisson with a header and plays Liverpool into massive trouble. And my reading of it was that was Ali's mistake, because he should be given a clear and concise shout there, which means Matip will leave it and then he can tidy it up. But does feel off. Everything feels very off at the moment. One comment from FPL Skills here, actually, on the Jordan Henderson thing. It says, Henderson was our best player tonight, worked tirelessly, injected impetus and offered something going forward. That's a really interesting shout. I'm going to need people's best players, actually. If you want to send in who you think was Liverpool's man of the match, do so in the comments. And when I do player rankings, that'll probably help me significantly, if I'm being honest on that one. Because, I think it's really tough to pick one. I think there's been a couple of solid performances, but I don't know, was there an outstanding performer? I thought Jordan Henderson was fine. Again, a couple of times where, one where he miscontrolled it late on, which because of recency bias will stick in everyone's mind like a sore thumb. But in the second half, he did show the energy that we needed. He was pushing on more. I think he played quite within himself in the first half, and Curtis was the one who was offering support for the attack. We needed the midfield to have those legs, and the moment, we're asking Fabinho and Henderson to go again and again and again and again, and they're both players who look absolutely wrecked. But for me, Fabinho, they're showing it on Sky right now, had a really good shot that was headed away by Fofana. When Fabinho actually got up around the box to support things like set piece and whatever, he was a threat. But he just looks slow and off the pace and a bit dopey, to be perfectly honest. So I agree. I thought Henderson was fine, but it might be a stretch to say more than that. We had a super chat here from Estabid, 199. Thank you so much. Rancid football from Liverpool tonight. Yeah, hard to disagree with that, mate. It was turgid, really. Again, lacking spark, lacking energy, lacking creativity, lacking a sense that there were things that were worked on. What people talk about. I've seen a lot of mentions of it, of like Pep Lijnders' book, and he gave away the secret sauce to our Liverpool play. I want to know, anyone who said that, who's been saying his book gave it all away, have you read his book? Because he does give stuff away, but by and large, he basically says there's no secret sauce, because it's just like, we trust the players to deliver on the pitch. Well, actually, this is the problem. What we've discovered this season is actually, in some respects, Liverpool look undercoached. They look like they haven't been drilled down in enough things. Like they're being left with too much creativity, and they're making the wrong decisions, and it's poor passing. And this is why Chelsea was shit tonight as well. The passing was horrendous from both teams. So many nothing situations that might have been good 3 passes down the line, didn't even get to progress to that, because both teams were just giving the ball away stupidly. So yeah, it was rancid is actually a very good word to describe what went on there tonight for the Reds. It was difficult at very, very least. Right, let's get to a few more comments. Everyone spells... Oh, Hayden, everyone spells it with an E, mate. Don't worry. All right, thanks so much, Hayden. Sincere apologies. You literally had it written out. All I had to do was copy how your name was spelled, and I still spelled it wrong. So that's on me. Very much definitely not on you. Right, I'm going to go over to Twitter and take some of the comments from there. Super Sunday like the ice cream, clever. Says uninspiring substitutions. Jota is too slow and clunky to play for us. Matip is not good enough. Jones impressed me slightly. I mean, there's one thing. It's good to see that Curtis Jones came out with a little bit of credit, because I mentioned this on the match build-up show, the incentive match build-up show, that it's fallen into this weird clique of people online who just won't have Curtis Jones, and not just not having him, because I get not having footballers. I get not think like they're not for me, but like being unduly nasty towards him and his level. When he's at worst, he's a good squad player for Liverpool. But I think Liverpool needs some fucking good squad players at this point. He desperately needs to just stay fit for the rest of the season, because if he can do that, he might go to a level where he can actually be a real positive force. Because I do believe he's got that ability in him. He's got a great touch. He's fast. He's tall, and he's got a good shot on him. So all attributes that are good for a midfielder, an attacking midfielder as well to have. But if he can just be an option for us, it means that someone else doesn't have to play flat out, and we might get a better performance from someone else. Thiago, prime example. Get Thiago fit, and if him and Curtis Jones can just rotate in that left side at 8 for the rest of the season, that will put us in a much stronger situation to win games of football, is my belief. Jota too slow and clunky. Yeah, I don't really agree. I don't totally agree with that. I think taking Bobby Firmino off and leaving Jota in the 9 was a mistake. I think we should have just put Salah in there and let Jota carry on out wide, or let Gakpo do it, to be honest. But he in games where you need him to do more false 90 stuff, he's not as good at doing that. He's good tip of the spear if you're looking to play him in, but we just never engineered those situations for him to do it. So he was doing quite well working deep and kind of things that he did the weekend as well. But so yeah, not a great performance, but I get it. I know he's not scored for like a fucking year for us, but he has got an eye for goal, and it has felt like a goal's coming for him. And if not, he does tend to set people up as well. So I get it. But yeah, tough evening for him, where he had looked very bright, I thought, in the first half, linking with Bobby. Gurjit Tank. This used to be a premium fixture between two of the best this season. It's two teams on the opposite ends of the transfer spectrum, but both so lost in their identities. Yeah, it is, isn't it, really? I mean, it does go to kind of show... sorry, by the way, just to stop, there's been a Chelsea statement released after the match. Chelsea condones the inappropriate chants heard from some home fans during this evening's game. Hateful chanting has no place in football, and we apologise to anyone who's been offended by them. Good on Chelsea for stepping up for that. Tragedy chanting just needs to fuck off. And by the way, you know, I've been in Liverpool Chelsea games, and we're all well aware of the RB situation, the chanting stuff, which needs to get fucked off as well, by the way. And trust me, no one knows that more. Few know that more than us. We've had to learn lessons. Everyone's had to learn lessons. The world has changed. Things that people used to get away with saying in the past doesn't mean you get to say them forever. People are, the culture change. We've evolved more as humans. We need to get beyond all this. And the fucking tragedy chanting is fucking stupid, because Liverpool have made great efforts to look at ourselves and go, we need to cut certain things out of our culture and chanting and things that we do. But it's been mad that like everyone else seems to turn a blind eye to the actions of other fans when they come and bring so much hateful and horrible chanting to football games. So anyway, that's that. There'll be more on that, I'm sure, to come. But anyway, back to Gurjit. Yeah, look, the encouraging thing is that Chelsea have spent £600 million to be that shit. We're in the middle of a rebuild. We've got the best manager in the world in charge. And if we can just limp to the end of the season and end up some way getting some positivity out of it, you'd back him to get us back to the top of the game pretty sharpish next season, whereas Chelsea look like they're going to need a lot more, to be perfectly honest. And given how much they spent and how the long contracts the players are on, Chelsea are more likely to go the way of Leeds United than we are. I think is the encouraging thing to take from this, which is something, I guess. Scott Barton. The match was dreadful, but class from Nunes at the end. That kid's passion is why we keep moving forward and why we love this club. Yeah, exactly. It's just, again, it's a small moment. It's stupid, but I'd rather be talking about a boss Liverpool performance and a passionate display from the players on the pitch. But it's times that we've got to remember we support our football club through thick and thin. We can think that, you know, the manager's not getting things right. We're entitled to call out situations and choices that managers and footballers and all that kind of make. That's what footy is. We're all armchair pundits, aren't we? Even the fucking pundits are armchair pundits. We're all the same. The only people who really know are the people in the dressing room, the people on the training pitch. That's how we watch football, and that's how we've always watched football since time immemorial. You go to the pub, or you go to work, or you talk to your mates, and you pull the game apart. Absolutely fine. But we have to remember at the end of the day that it's our job to get behind them. And it's annoying. It's well easier when it's going well, by the way. The true test of your support is when it's shit. And, you know, switch off. You switch off to it. The worst you should do, if you're a big fan of football and a big fan of your football team, you either just go, suck it up, take a deep breath and plough on with it, or switch off to it. Because you can't stop supporting your football team, so you need to protect yourself in the best way possible. Don't be a twat. Is the basic rule of this. No one ever got out of a situation by having abuse and shit hurled at them. We can choose to take... The only thing we can control is our own behaviour. We can't control the lads on the pitch and how they perform. We have to put our trust that they perform to a level that we deem acceptable, which they haven't been doing. But we also then have to trust that they will get it right, because that's what being a football fan is. Anyway, thanks so much, Scott, for the comments. I really appreciate it. We've got a couple more from Twitter. Sparky the Great says, grim. Nunes seems like a nice lad, but I'm not sure he's going to work out. Klopp obviously doesn't trust him as a striker, and once Diaz is fully fit, I think it'll be him dropping out. I agree with the dropping out thing, but moreover, I think we'll just be able to make really more positive changes in football matches. We had the front three, we brought Jota in, and what it meant was we could take Mane off with half an hour to go and bring a Jota on who was fit, fresh and energetic into the team. We've still been we're trying to get the team back up to fitness again. Jota's been out for so long, trying to get him back into a team that maybe has changed a little bit. Maybe it's become a bit reliant on Darwin Núñez's pace. Bobby Firmino's on his way out. You know, you're trying to get Cody Gakpo up to speed in one of the most complex positions in the side and all that kind of stuff. I think Núñez has got a lot going for him, but I do agree that Diaz coming back in, even though it's going to take him a long while to get back up to speed too, his fire and determination to try and drag Liverpool forward is huge, and it's going to be very much needed for the rest of the season. Steve, who is #FSG out, this is on Klopp as much as it is the team. Playing the same players in the same system week in, week out is clearly not working. Carvalho deserves better. Melo deserves better. Now, here's the point, Steve. That sounds like a very sensible comment. That sounds very like a comment that someone could make. But it's fucking horseshit, mate. I can agree with saying that something's on Klopp, and it is. Klopp's the manager, so that statement is fine. We can put as much blame as we want on Jurgen Klopp's doorstep at his feet. That's fine, because he's the manager. He coaches the team. He picks the team. He tells them how to play. He chooses the substitutions. He's the man ultimately responsible for lots of the decision-making. So it is fine to put Liverpool's issues on Jurgen Klopp, and he will be the first one to admit that. We made 7 changes for the game tonight. We've changed the system for Man City, like, wildly as well. We've played, I think, 4 different formations this season. Carvalho, I like Carvalho, and I would like to see him in the side, but to the point, and the same goes for Arta. I just want to see what he is. There's a reason these lads aren't playing. And it's probably because they're not good enough. Because I would look at it and say, Liverpool is crying out for midfielders, and they're crying out for energy, and they're crying out for just fresh legs and new approach and all this kind of stuff, and a bit more fighting determination. If he's picking the same lads, people think sometimes that he just picks them based on reputation or whatever. he picks them because they're the ones who work hardest in training. They're the ones that show up each and every training session and go hardest from minute 1 to minute whatever time it is to clock out. That's how he picks. And so we think, well, he's just picking the same players time and time again because he's got to like them. He picks the lads he picks the best players who work the hardest consistently. And that's how Liverpool's team is formed. And that's on the other lads to step up. That's on Carvalho to be better. That's on Artur to be better. And maybe they just need that opportunity to shine. But the general rule of thumb is if you make your own chances and you make your own luck. I think you've got it wildly wrong there, to be perfectly honest, mate. But I don't disagree with the idea that Klopp needs to shoulder responsibility of this, which I think he will. But I think some of that rest of the comments is just a bit wider than the mark. Scuba Steve. Oh shit. Sorry. Dan's been liking more comments on the Twitter. Absolutely abysmal performance. Not in a million years did we deserve anything from that game. Take the point and run. Absolutely. Nothing else we can do, unfortunately. Although probably won't run because the legs are gone. Chris Hunter says, we didn't fucking lose with a much changed team. We did well. Stop fucking being miserable and get behind the lads and the manager. Yes, we are better than this, but it's a step forward to fucking support the team or don't fucking support us at all. Look, yeah, there's a bit of that. I mean, look, again, to reiterate the point, if you're a Liverpool fan, you're stuck with us forever. You're stuck with Liverpool forever and ever and ever. So you've got to find a way to better deal with that. If you can't deal with it, there's loads of sports that you don't have to get as emotionally invested in. Formula One. There's one. Have that one for free. Tennis. Have tennis. Watch tennis. Loads of energy. It's passion on display. And you don't have to be as stressed out about it. Footy is a very stressful thing to follow, particularly if you're only happy when your team's winning silverware. You're entitled to be miserable after that, by the way, Chris. That was a shocking performance. We're in a shocking run of form in a shocking season by the high standards that we've been set. We're entitled and everyone's entitled to feel miserable and down in the dumps and angry, sad, or whatever you want to go with on that. I don't think we did well. I think given the circumstances, that could have been a Chelsea new manager bounce. They could have absolutely bounced off the park. They certainly tried. They had the energy. They were going for it. They were trying to prove themselves more than they have done in recent weeks. In that regard, it might prove to be a useful point, but we can't know that. Fingers crossed it is, mate. It is starting to feel like a wild flight of fancy, but I've still got hope. I still believe. Hopefully that's a point that we'll be looking back on positive light, even if we never, hopefully, have to think about that game ever again after that. Right, we had a few more comments. Darian Herbert has just sent a super chat in. Thank you so much for that, mate. That's lovely stuff. And Amir has sent a super chat in as well. Klopp is done. Just like Benitez overstated his welcome, so has Klopp. No matter who we sign next year, it will be as bad with Klopp there. Klopp out. Oh, you fucking idiot. Wild. I mean, listen, it's your money. Thanks for the money. A fool and his money are easily parted, I think, as they say. It's fucking stupid. I've heard some fucking stupid shit in my time, but that is fucking ridiculously stupid. Right. I'm going to come back to the live show chat very shortly. So if you've got some super chats and all that kind of stuff to come, I will get onto them very shortly indeed. I'm going to go over to the board and do player rankings. Help. I've got no idea what I'm going to do with this. It's going to be completely free form, shoot from the hip. I have to remember to mic myself up when I get over there as well. Right, come and join me at the board. Oh, right there. You can go back to that shot, Aaron. It's fine. Right, super. Yeah, wait. Whoa, shit, where is it? Thank you. I'm dancing because I'm very nearly finished for today. Right, sound. Let's see what we got in here. Okay, let's do player rankings then. Alisson Becker was he boss? Apart from that, not shouting for Matip moment. I think I'm going to start with him in Boss, and I'm going to leave him there for the moment if anyone disagrees. We've got Quinton Class straight in here. It just says Allison Boss, so I'm all in on that, mate. Yeah, sound to Boss says Quad Bod. Ben Jones says Boss. Rachel Todd says Allison Boss. Okay, cool. Joe Gomez. I thought Gomez was fine. He was sound. It wasn't a. I don't think he got caught out defensively. I don't think he supported the attack quite enough. I think he played a little bit within himself. I think if he played 3 or 4 games at right back, I think you could see what an energetic up and down fullback he could be for us. I don't think he will get those games. So inevitably Gomez, when he doesn't have a run of games, doesn't quite ever reach the level that we know that he can do. Anyone want to disagree on Gomez? Gomez upper sound, says Quinton Class. Boss for Joe says Quad Bod. The shot was fire. Yeah, I think that'll get him into the sound category for me. Okay, Joel Matip. I think Joel was more towards your messing, if I'm honest. I don't think that was a particularly commanding performance from Joel. A couple of times when he's just a bit flat-footed, not reading the game great. Yeah, I wasn't overly pleased with that. Gomez actually good tonight, says Hayden Butler. Allsop, tonight between Boss and Sound for me. Okay, interesting stuff. Matip was lower sound, says Quinton. Matip, you're messing, says Hayden. Looked clumsy. I'm happy for Matip there at the minute. We can maybe debate that more. Canate, I think the fact that he cleared one off the line probably puts him at the bottom end of sound. We've got a super chat in, which I'm just going to go to because I'll forget otherwise. From It's Crossbow, 7 points off top 4. We can still do it, to be fair. Yeah, why not, mate? Not tonight, fucking hell. Not tonight. We're not having them conversations tonight. It's the fucking far-fetched pipe dream at this point. Let's all live in that world for a bit. Clinton Class says Kanate was Boss. Anyone else? Kanate Sound says Quad Bod. Wants Mdea. Thinks Ibu was middle sound. Okay, yeah, I'll go with that. I don't think he was commanding enough at times, and he was. I'll be honest, I thought he was a little wild. The amount of times he stepped out to try and win it and just basically gave away a stupid free kick was a little thing. No, I'm gonna push him down for that. To be honest, I think he was a bit too reckless. Costa Simicast, I thought he was poo, to be honest, but I'll put him more. You know what? No, I'm putting him in. You're messing. He's better than that, and I know he's not played a lot of football, but I didn't think he was very good. Someone disagree with me if you wish. Fabinho, I thought he was fucking shite as well. Costas is in messing according to Quinton Class. Okay, so definitely messing. Yeah, okay. I'm putting Fabinho in there. I just can't get on with Fabinho this season at all. I mean, there's a couple of moments when he's all right, and again, getting around the box, really good shot off. The bits where he's there, 30 yards from goal, going towards their goal, fine, exciting. He was in the right place, right place, right position. The amount of times he just got passed around or didn't cut off a passing lane because he just wasn't on his toes enough. He just looks knackered. He just looks dead. He just looks like his body is seized up on him. So I thought he was fucking rubbish. Jordan Henderson, I thought Jordan was sound, to be perfectly honest. Curtis Jones, I think maybe put Jordan. I'll put Jordan there in about the middle of sound. Quinton Class saying Fab was sound. Yeah, I wildly disagree with that. He does think Henderson was sound, and I think Curtis Jones was sound as well, to be honest. Functional, and this is where we're at. I don't think they had an exceptional game. I would say for the lad that's coming out the cold, I thought Curtis probably deserves a little bit more respect. Jordan Henderson is one of them where he's the captain. We know what he can deliver. It wasn't a great Jordan Henderson performance, but functionally I thought he was all right. Let's see this then. Ben Jones says Hendo was Boss. He got the lads up and moving. Rachel Todd as well. Here's one from Alexander. Fab's decline is sad, honestly. Late in every single challenge. He was never fast, but now his legs are cement. If there was a lower tier than you're messing, I'd put him there, honestly, mate. I agree. So Rachel Todd said Jordan was sound. Hayden back again. There's Curtis Jones Curtis Jones sound looked good for the first start in a while. People forget he's still one of the younger players. Yeah, 22 years old is mad because he feels like he's been around forever. Shane, €2 super chat says Jota was poor, mate. Oh, we'll come to that. Don't you worry, my friend. Right, okay. Bobby Firmino, I thought Bobby was sound. Quite like this performance. Diogo Jota, then. Shane thinks he was poor. I thought he was. I think he paid the price for staying on the pitch, if I'm being honest. And I know why he did it. I've talked about it before. He's liable to get you the goal. I think he should have stayed wide. I think we should have gone with Salah through the middle, because put Salah up against Koulibaly and see what happens. I think he was sound up until the point where we made the substitutions and he didn't come off. So that probably does knock him down. For me, somewhere between sound and you're messing. It was, again, first half, I thought it was encouraging, the link-up play with him and Firmino. I thought it was good and promised that it might deliver more. And I mean, ultimately, it never. Let's see. Once saying he wasn't Diogo Jota. Today he was Diogo Otter. Want on it today. Sound is good. Okay, cool. Right. Quinton disagrees with Canate. I thought he was boss and Fabinho was sound. How's anyone else think? Do we think I've been overly harsh on Canate and Fabinho? I'm not having that I'm harsh on Fabinho, by the way. But right, okay. Who else we got? Darwin Núñez was fucking poo as well. Again, promising at times in the first half, but not enough, not consistent enough. And he's just, I think there's games where if he's got space to run into and he can get, and we're playing the right type of passes to him, we're playing him wide. So he's running down the channels and he's not a winger. He's an outside forward. You know, he's one who will be, he just needs to be in shooting positions a little bit more. And I mentioned this in commentary. He's starting to look like Divock out wide, who's got the attributes. He's got pace. He's good on the ball. He can dribble. He can cross. He's got a great shot when it opens up for him. But he's not got that guile, that stop and go. That you stood your man up, and your little shimmy's going to get you past him. He lacks that, and this ended up not the game for him. And unfortunately, without Diaz, we haven't really got a player who can truly do that. Maybe Gakpo. Maybe he could have come on and done that earlier. But yeah, real shame. Dan was okay in short bursts, says Quadbod. Moments, but service was poor to him. And a comment here from Hey Rumbar. There were times where all midfielders were forming triangles next to each other and not between their players to progress the ball forward. Yeah, and that was one of the things that Kovacic did really well for Chelsea. Just run forward 5 yards, and then instead of having the ball played square to you, flat-footed, you're taking it on the run. And Henderson tried that more in the second half, to his credit. And as much as it didn't yield a lot, there's a couple of times he got in right to the byline and got crosses in. That was encouraging. We just didn't get enough of it going in the game, to be perfectly honest. Right, substitutions, for what it's worth. Cody Gakpo basically did frig all, did he even touch the ball? I don't really remember. Andy Robertson was a bit shite when he came on. James Milner, same. And Mohamed Salah, I mean, fuck, what was the point? What was the point of him coming on? Absolutely garbage as well. Right. Here's a one from Wanser saying on Darwin, he operates in that left half space, did that really well at Benfica. Him playing wide left doesn't play to his strength. Yes, exactly. Completely agree on that one. Yeah, spot on me. Right, okay. Anyone got any wild disagreements with what I've ended up with? Alisson, best player for us on the pitch. Maybe Karate for his match-saving tackle. Edge Karate up, maybe, I think. Okay, I will add that, because if he hadn't cleared that one off the line, we would have lost that game. Anyone else? Does anyone else deserve to be pushed up higher? Let me know. Last chance in the comments to do just that. Yeah. Okay. Right. That is player rankings. I'm going to head back to the book for the back to the chair for your last comment on this game. Get them in and go. Any final thoughts? Who was your man of the match and who was the worst performer? Let me know the answer to that in the comments, and I'll head back over now. Thank you so much to all the new members, by the way. Huge love to all the new members. Right, Jesus H. Christ, here we go. Nat Phillips would get us top 4, says once. Jesus Christ. Okay, right, here we go. Let me get to the bottom of the comments. Yeah, I was impressed with Alisson. Ultimately, again, it was a really good couple of saves from him. He got wildly unlucky with the Kai Havertz one, and obviously mercifully the fact that the handball was given was very good for us ultimately. Right, let me get through to the final few comments. Right, let me see. Okay, Ben Jones on Darwin Núñez says, I feel Núñez, he's playing in the wrong position. He's so young. He's getting overloaded, and he did well for trying to create. Okay, yeah, that's an interesting point. He doesn't. You don't ever get a lack of effort from Darwin Núñez, but it's one of them where he needs to be. And this is why I actually thought Curtis Jones had a good game, because he wasn't being dropped into a totally makeshift midfield. So the rumour was earlier in the day that it was going to be Henderson, Carvalho and Jones as a midfield three. And Curtis Jones and Carvalho would have been shit if we'd done that, because you're just throwing them to the wolves. Whereas at least he was alongside 2 senior players. And we've got a little bit of that, is that we really just need Jota and Salah and Bobby to just be at their level. And that will allow Gakpo and Núñez and Diaz more time to settle in. But again, we're just chasing our tail, catching up with injuries and form, and maybe a slight modification to tactics and just our own negative vibes that we've created by having all the problems early on in the season. So tough. Ben also says, yes, that the sub should have been on sooner. Yeah, again, I feel like that we've done enough. We've done some solid work in the first half to keep in the game. And maybe it was about, again, get to 60 or so, but I'd have made a change at half-time. Given how that game went, I'd have probably done something a bit more like take Fabinho off, put Henderson in the 6 and bring a Carvalho on then. I know I just said that they would have hung out to dry, but once you got to measure the game a bit more, or maybe brought a Gakpo into that situation, or Trent on for Gomez, again, just give us a bit more attacking intent. Yeah, it felt a little bit like both teams did want to win it, but neither were ready to totally throw the kitchen sink at it, which might be a tough one. Right, let's see. We got one here from Ben Jones, just going on, picking up on the point that he's made on the substitutions, saying needed them on sooner because you're bringing them on at 70th and you're losing time, and then you lose momentum, and that's what we lacked, momentum and creativity at times. Yeah, so yeah, it was just a fucking shit show, wasn't it? Absolutely shit. It really was. Quad Bod here as well. Okay, says Alisson was our best player, but huge effort from both Hendo and Jones deserves mentioning. We missed Gakpo in the front line. And Quentin Class in the YouTube comments saying Fabinho is underestimated in my opinion. He's not meant to be fast. Yeah, but he's meant to fucking cut things out. He's meant to stop passes reaching their men. He's meant to be first to things. He's meant to anticipate things. And whether it's slowing the brain or slowing the legs, the net result is exactly the same. Fabinho's having a shite season. And I really worried for his long-term future at the football club. And we need more, unfortunately. We just don't have it. Thiago can't come back soon enough. And not because he's going to, again, fix all of the problems. We just need more and more people to play in that midfield, because we can't keep asking Henderson and Fabinho to go week in, week out, twice a week, because eventually they're going to fucking collapse and we're going to be left with nothing. Boo! Misery, depression. I will cheer up. And Liverpool will be back eventually, and they will be fine eventually. We might have to go through the doldrums for a day, days, weeks, months, years, but Liverpool will be back because they're a magnificent football club. We've supported them through much darker times than this. I mean, literally, we won a piece of silverware this season. We've had longer dry spells than we've been on right now. Eventually, the dry spells end. It's just sometimes it's a psychological thing. Sometimes you just need to be a little bit fitter to end your dry spell yourself. Sometimes you just need a bit of luck to go your way, and Liverpool will get it back, I believe. Hopefully, you believe too. If you want to get involved with the instant match reaction, you can do. Head to redmenplus.com. Chris and Dan are going to be doing that straight after me over on there. A bit more reasoned chat, a bit more chat and debate. If there's anything you want them to discuss, do let us know. And hopefully they'll get through that as well. But if you head over there, choose a monthly subscription, use the code IMR, you get a huge discount on that. So you can come and check it out. I always say two things before I go. We've been doing this for 13 years now. Liverpool were much worse than this when we started because we had Roy Hodgson in charge. So we're very good at celebrating when Liverpool are great, but we're also very experienced in making sure that we stay on an even keel when Liverpool are shite because we've been through it before. So if you want to celebrate, enjoy, my God, of course we've got you covered, but that's easy. It's also dead easy to just succumb to misery and hate. We don't do that. It's hard. It's hard fucking work to keep your chin up and try and stay positive and keep yourself on an even keel and keep your support going for your football team at times. So if you need help with that, we have got you covered on Redmen Plus. We're very, very versed in how to do that because we've been doing this for a very, very long time. And if you need to get some Liverpool-related love in your life, which you're not getting from the footy team, then come and join us at our live event on the 5th of May. Liverpool quiz, party games, atmosphere, songs. We can give you the joy that the football club have stolen from you this season. But yeah, go to Ticket Quarter, search Redmen Live Quiz, and we hope to see you there. Anyway, that's it from me, Chris and Dan. We'll be picking up the reins and hopefully see you over on Redmen Plus in a bit.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching that show. Did you know if you go over to redmenplus.com and sign up as a Club Legend subscriber, you will get access to our amazing Discord chat, 20% off merchandise, live tickets every year for free, plus all our incredible content, and you'll get absolutely everything right as it happens. So get over there and do